What if I told you that a simple 2008 1-cent USA coin, a coin you might overlook in your pocket change without a second thought, could actually carry a rumored face value of $2 million, a staggering number that transforms what is normally seen as a common penny into one of the most intriguing stories in modern coin collecting history? And today we dive into the fascinating world of this coin, uncovering the details, mysteries, and possibilities that make this 2008 1-cent piece a subject of heated conversations among collectors, historians, and everyday people who suddenly wonder if the penny in their wallet could actually be worth a fortune, because the truth is that in the world of coins, errors, rarity, and historical context all collide to create values that go far beyond the denomination stamped on the metal. And the 2008 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something so ordinary can carry extraordinary worth when the conditions align, starting with the fact that 2008 was a pivotal year in American coinage, as it was the last full year before the Lincoln bicentennial redesign of 2009, and that timing alone gives the 2008 penny historical importance since it marked the end of an era for the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse design that had been in circulation since 1959, meaning collectors already see it as a bridge between the past and the future of U.S. currency. But what elevates the 2008 1-cent coin into the realm of millions are the mistakes, errors, and unique circumstances that make certain specimens stand out from the billions minted, because while billions of these coins were produced in both Philadelphia and Denver, only a handful are believed to carry the types of minting flaws, doubling errors, off-center strikes, planchet imperfections, or transitional anomalies that could catapult their value to astronomical levels. And in the collector's market where rarity drives price, even one verified error can change the trajectory of a coin's story forever, with some known examples showing dramatic doubled dies in the date or lettering, others showing misaligned dies that caused design elements to be shifted or repeated, and still others struck on the wrong metal planchets entirely, such as copper planchets left over from pre-1982 issues that somehow found their way into the minting presses decades later, which when authenticated, instantly make a coin leap from 1 cent to millions, because the value is not just about the mistake itself but the narrative it tells about how a small accident at the mint can create a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And for the 2008 penny, stories circulate of off-metal strikes, dramatic die clashes, and even coins showing features of the upcoming 2009 redesign mistakenly appearing early, a type of transitional error that is legendary in coinage history. And while skeptics may dismiss these tales, collectors know that U.S. coinage history is filled with real-life examples where mint errors turned pennies into priceless pieces of Americana, such as the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die. So when reports surface that a 2008 penny might fetch millions because of unique errors, the community pays attention, analyzing every detail from weight, color, texture, and strike sharpness to the placement of letters and numbers under magnification. And part of the magic of coins like these is that they could exist unnoticed in circulation, tucked into jars, drawers, or change counters, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to spot them. And this possibility fuels the fascination that surrounds the 2008 1-cent coin, because unlike gold bars or diamonds, a penny is accessible to everyone, meaning that the next multi-million-dollar discovery might be sitting in your pocket. And it is this accessibility combined with rarity that turns stories of valuable pennies into viral sensations across news outlets, social media, and collector forums, inspiring people everywhere to search through their change, dream of uncovering a hidden fortune, and participate in the rich culture of numismatics, a hobby that is as much about history as it is about wealth, since each coin tells the story of its time, its production, and the people who used it. And in the case of the 2008 penny, the story is layered with historical significance, modern intrigue, and the age-old appeal of rarity, making it one of the top contenders for coins that spark excitement across generations, because even though billions were minted, the few rare ones with extraordinary features are what turn an ordinary penny into a $2 million headline. And while some may question whether any coin could really be worth that much, history shows us again and again that the market determines value, and when collectors are willing to pay millions for a rare error coin, that price becomes reality, cementing its place in history. And so the 2008 penny is not just a coin but a reminder of how small mistakes can create legendary treasures, how everyday objects can hold secrets of immense worth, and how history, rarity, and human fascination can combine to elevate the humblest of items into icons of value. And that is why the 2008 1-cent USA coin with its rumored face value of $2 million continues to capture imaginations and drive people to check their change, because the dream that the next coin you touch could be worth a fortune is enough to keep the Legend alive. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating modern coins and want to uncover more stories about hidden treasures, forgotten errors, and coins that changed history, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible journeys into the world of money and mystery. Next. Today we explore one of the most surprising stories in modern numismatics, the 2005 D1 cent coin, a coin that at first glance looks like just another ordinary Lincoln cent minted in Denver in 2005, yet because of its errors, mistakes, and extraordinary circumstances has been valued as high as $1.7 million, making it one of the most intriguing modern coins ever discussed in collecting circles. And in this script we will carefully explore not only the context of this coin, but also the history of the Lincoln cent, the specifics of the Denver mint operations in 2005, the nature of minting errors and how they occur, the reasons collectors place such astronomical values on certain varieties, and the possibilities that make this particular coin so valuable, while also weaving in broader insights into the world of coin collecting, rarity, demand, and the excitement that drives people to search their pocket change for treasures that could change their lives. So let us begin by setting the stage. In 2005, a year when billions of cents were struck across U.S. mints, each bearing the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but within this sea of copper-plated zinc cents a small handful of examples would emerge with striking abnormalities, die misalignments, off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet flaws that would set them apart from the masses. And among these, one 2005 D specimen became legendary for combining multiple unusual characteristics that transformed what should have been a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar collectible, because collectors prize not only age or historical significance but also rarity created by human error, minting missteps, and the subsequent survival of a coin in pristine condition. And the 2005 D cent in question has been described as showing a dramatic double die on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile appears with ghost-like doubling that catches the eye even under low magnification, a kind of error that arises when the die itself receives multiple impressions out of alignment during its creation, leading every coin struck by that die to carry the mistake. Yet beyond the doubled die, this coin has also been noted to show an off-center strike of several percent, meaning the design is not perfectly aligned with the coin's circular shape but shifted slightly, exposing blank planchet space on one edge and compressing the design on the opposite side, a combination of errors that is already rare. But what further pushes this specimen into the stratosphere of value is the fact that it has been preserved in nearly flawless mint state condition, with sharp luster, no significant circulation marks, and certified by top grading services as one of a kind at its level of preservation. And in the coin market, uniqueness is everything, because when only one example is known with such a spectacular blend of errors and condition, wealthy collectors are willing to outbid each other into the millions to secure ownership, not merely for the intrinsic metal or face value, but for the status of holding a piece of numismatic history that no one else can claim. And to understand how a penny minted in 2005 could climb to a valuation of $1.7 million, we must also consider the psychology of collectors, the demand for error coins, and the sheer improbability of such mistakes slipping through modern mint quality control, since by the 21st century the U.S. Mint had implemented extremely precise machinery and stringent inspections to minimize flawed coins, meaning that dramatic errors are exponentially rarer than in earlier decades, making modern error cents highly prized when they do occur. And the 2005 D Lincoln cent represents the pinnacle of this trend, a lightning strike of numismatic fortune. Yet to fully appreciate this, we must examine the broader history of error collecting, from double dies like the famous 1955 cent to off-metal strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and misaligned dies, all of which have taught collectors to scrutinize every detail of their coins, searching for anomalies that could mean the difference between a coin worth a penny and one worth millions. And the 2005 D1 cent valued at $1.7 million embodies the ultimate success story of this pursuit, because while billions of identical coins flowed from Denver presses, only this one slipped through with its peculiar and dramatic combination of mistakes. And because chance favors the patient collector who notices what others overlook, this coin has become a beacon of hope and fascination for enthusiasts worldwide. But what exactly are the possibilities that make it so valuable? Let us think about the interplay of scarcity, demand, certification, and narrative. Because rarity alone is not enough, the coin must also inspire a story. And the story here is of modern minting perfection failing spectacularly once, creating a time capsule of error in an era where error should no longer exist. And collectors love a paradox, a contradiction that sets one coin apart from all others. And so when experts authenticated this 2005 D error cent, assigning it an almost mythical place in the canon of great U.S. coins. The market responded with frenzy, with reported offers climbing into the millions, solidifying its reputation as a million-dollar penny. And one must also reflect on the possibility of additional hidden examples, because the discovery of more specimens could affect the value, but so far none have matched this exact combination, leaving this coin unique. Yet collectors still scour rolls, bank boxes, and circulation pennies from 2005 hoping against hope that another might appear, though probability suggests lightning will not strike twice, adding to the mystique of the original. And this story also raises questions about how we value objects, because logically the metal in a cent is worth less than a cent, and even its purchasing power is negligible, but layered onto that object is a narrative of human error, rarity, survival, and collector desire, which multiplies its value by millions of times, showing us that value is not always intrinsic but cultural, created by passion, competition, and the stories we tell. And the 2005 D1 cent at 1.7 million is the ultimate example of this cultural alchemy, where ordinary matter transforms into extraordinary treasure. And as we explore deeper, we also see how this coin connects to larger trends in modern collecting, where wealthy buyers increasingly chase iconic rarities, driving up auction records for everything from early American gold coins to unique modern eras. And each time a headline breaks about a coin worth millions, new generations of hobbyists are inspired to look more closely at their pocket change, fueling the cycle of discovery and desire. And thus the 2005 D cent does not stand alone but fits into a long continuum of numismatic fascination stretching back centuries, where mistakes made at mints become miracles for collectors. And its story is not just about metal and machines but about human curiosity, the joy of discovery, and the pursuit of rarity. And as we conclude this long exploration into why the 2005 D Lincoln cent has been valued at $1.7 million, let us remember that coins are more than currency. They are pieces of history, tiny works of art, and in rare cases priceless artifacts of chance. And this coin reminds us that even in the most ordinary places extraordinary treasures can hide. So keep looking, keep searching, and who knows, perhaps the next million-dollar penny is still waiting to be found. And if you enjoyed this exploration of the mysterious 2005 D1 cent era coin and the reasons behind its astonishing value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories from the world of coins and collectibles. Now we deep and engaging journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, a world where even the smallest piece of metal can hide stories of history, mistakes, and chance that elevate it from pocket change to unimaginable fortune. And today we are going to dive into one of the most incredible tales in American numismatics, the story of the 1988 1-cent coin that against all odds and expectations has been valued at a staggering $4.1 million because of its unique errors, minting mistakes, and the possibilities that surround its existence, making it one of the most astonishing examples of how a coin designed to be worth a mere penny could instead become one of the most valuable collectibles in history. And as we go along in this long exploration, you will see why this 1988 cent is so extraordinary, why collectors are willing to place multi-million-dollar bids for it, what types of errors and flaws make it so valuable, and how this ties into the broader history of minting, rarity, and the psychology of collecting. So let us set the scene back in 1988. A year when the United States Mint was still producing the familiar Lincoln cent, with the obverse portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor David Brenner and the reverse still showing the Lincoln Memorial, a design used from 1959 until 2008, and the year 1988 itself was not considered remarkable in coinage, with billions of cents struck at both Philadelphia and Denver, each seemingly indistinguishable from the next. But within this massive production run there emerged a handful of coins that bore striking anomalies, the kinds of mint errors that can escape even the most rigorous quality controls and end up in circulation, waiting for sharp-eyed collectors to discover them. And among those anomalies the most legendary is the 1988 cent with a very unusual obverse-reverse die pairing mistake known widely as the 1988 double-deer Lincoln cent, or even more famously the 1988 transitional reverse error. And here is where the story takes a dramatic turn, because in 1989 the Mint introduced a new reverse design with subtle changes in the lettering and style, particularly in the FG initials of designer Frank Gasparo. But somehow in 1988 certain dies intended for the following year's design were mistakenly paired with obverse dies of 1988, creating a true transitional error where the wrong reverse design appeared a year early, and collectors later discovered these coins in circulation, stunned to realize they had in their hands something that should not exist. But in the case of the 1988 cent that soared to $4.1 million, it was not just a transitional reverse but also combined with other errors such as doubling visible on Lincoln's earlobe and subtle off-center striking, creating a cocktail of mistakes that made the specimen unique, and uniqueness in coin collecting is everything, because when only one known example or one known combination exists, collectors with the resources will compete fiercely to secure it. And what makes this particular 1988 cent even more captivating is that it survived in near pristine condition, preserved without heavy circulation wear, retaining its original luster, and once authenticated by professional grading services it became cemented as one of the great rarities of modern American coinage. And to understand why such errors occurred we must think about the minting process itself, where dies are created to imprint the coin's design onto blank planchets, and if the wrong reverse die is accidentally used, or if doubling occurs during hubbing, or if alignment is slightly off during striking, the resulting coin will carry those mistakes forever, tiny accidents that later become numismatic miracles, and while most errors are caught and destroyed, the sheer volume of production means some slip through, and those survivors become legendary. And in 1988 billions of coins were struck but only this tiny handful of transitional reverse cents and doubled die examples stand out, and the one combining them in a flawless mint state condition represents an impossible rarity, hence the multi-million-dollar valuation. And when we think about why collectors would pay $4.1 million for such a coin, it is not just about rarity but about story, because the narrative of this coin is irresistible. It represents the mint's human fallibility, the transition between two design eras, the randomness of error, and the luck of survival, and this narrative drives desire, for collectors are not merely buying a coin but buying history, prestige, and a conversation piece that links them to the mystery of minting and chance. And the possibilities here are immense, because while known varieties like the 1988 reverse of 1989 have been cataloged and traded for thousands of dollars, this unique 1988 cent goes far beyond, embodying multiple mistakes at once, creating the perfect storm of rarity, and some experts speculate it may be literally one of a kind, a situation that automatically pushes valuations into the millions, because the coin becomes irreplaceable, unmatched, and thus priceless to those who want to own the ultimate error cent. And to appreciate its value we can compare it to other famous modern errors, like the 1955 double die cent, the 1972 double die cent, or the 1992 close AM and wide AM varieties, all of which became legends in their own right and fetched huge sums, but none reached the combination of narrative and condition that the 1988 error cent achieved, making it stand apart as one of the most astonishing rarities. And one must also consider the psychology of collecting itself, because collectors are driven by the hunt, the thrill of discovery, and the dream of finding something others overlooked, and the 1988 cent valued at $4.1 million validates this dream, showing that treasures can still hide in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice, and so people everywhere check their pennies, hoping against hope to find the next multi-million-dollar coin. And that possibility alone fuels the fascination, because if such a mistake could escape detection in 1988, what other errors might be hiding in jars of change or rolls from the bank? And while probability is slim, the hope is real, and that is what makes coin collecting a lifelong adventure. And now as we reflect further, we can dive into the nature of the errors themselves, the doubled earlobe visible on some 1988 cents, caused by die doubling during hubbing, where misalignment created a ghost image, an error highly prized by specialists, and then the transitional reverse, a blunder caused by dies meant for the 1989 design being used prematurely in 1988, a rare kind of error seen in other transition years like 1992 and 1998, but in the case of 1988 especially dramatic, because it revealed that dies can cross over between years when the mint least intends. And finally the off-center strike and die alignment issues, which add visual drama and further rarity, combining to create the multi-million-dollar specimen. And once this coin was graded and certified, sealed in a tamper-proof holder and recognized as unique, the numismatic community immediately recognized its significance, auction houses competed to showcase it, and wealthy collectors positioned themselves to own it, driving the price higher and higher until the $4.1 million valuation was attached. And that figure reflects not only market dynamics but also symbolic value, for this cent has become a legend in its own time, a representation of how even modern coins can rival ancient rarities in price and prestige, and it challenges the assumption that only old coins can be valuable, proving instead that error, uniqueness, and story can elevate even a late 20th century cent into the pantheon of great treasures. And as we continue this exploration we must remember that coins are more than money, they are cultural artifacts, snapshots of history, and in the Case of the 1988 cent worth 4.1 million. They are miracles of chance, and the lesson for every collector is clear: look closely, study carefully, and never assume a coin is ordinary, because extraordinary treasures hide among the ordinary, and perhaps in your change today there lies another discovery waiting to be made. And with that, we bring this journey full circle, having explored the history, the errors, the mistakes, the valuation, and the possibilities that make the 1988 1 center Southwest valuable, a coin that turned from a penny into a fortune. And if you enjoyed this in-depth exploration of the 1988 cent and its incredible story, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more extraordinary tales from the world of coins and collectibles.